All right, my friends, welcome to episode 253 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Before I do my normal preamble here, I do want to let you know that we are uploading some content to our YouTube channel finally. So if you go to youtube.com and just search Prof and Dev Play Games, you'll find our channel. I'm doing something called a Game Pass Gamble, which is Gambol, which is supposed to sound like a gamble because it is a gamble with Game Pass. But gamble is a nice little walk stroll sort of thing. Played Carry On, which I'll talk about later. Then I've got also a series called Gaming with My Daughter. So hopefully you'll enjoy those videos. Please check them out. My name is Larry the Professor. I am at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony the Dev at SummerSpeak. How you doing?
Doing okay. Into a nice summer weekend.
Yeah, nice. And did you do any more yard work?
No, not today. Mostly just sat around and played video games today.
Nice. That's a pretty good day.
Yeah, it was just nice and sunny out. Had some doors open, windows open. Just for Washington, it was very nice. It was like 78 degrees. It's like the perfect summers up here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's when people talk about this area, like it rains all the time, but then you get the perfect like high 70s, low 80s summer days.
And how many of those do you get? It's like a month's worth or less?
2 months, 2.5.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Basically from the 4th of July, first week of July till mid-September, usually. Mm-hmm. Maybe late if it's going a little long. But right. Yeah. And then it starts cooling off and raining again.
Get back to the typical Seattle weather at that point.
Pretty much. But
awesome.
Gotta enjoy it while you have it at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Any way that you can game on your porch or something?
No, but I can be in my office, which has a bunch of windows and the doors open. So
yeah, that's nice. Close enough.
Yeah.
Well, this week we are talking about that big Nintendo Gigaleak, and maybe we'll speculate a little bit about what Nintendo might be planning for the rest of the year as well. And then we'll talk about what we're playing. Anthony's finally got into Ghost of Tsushima, so we'll talk about that. And I've recently got Paper Mario, the Origami King, so we'll talk about that as well. But let's start off with this Nintendo Gigaleak, which was basically, someone broke into Nintendo servers through a security exploit in some old, I think it was hardware. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And then just downloaded just gigabits of files of old renders, old prototypes, old models.
It looks like they just took a file directory and were just like, let's just copy all of this and we'll figure out if there's good things in it later. Like, right. We're just copying. As far as I can figure out, when I was trying to dig like when this happened, it was like April.
I think the first drop was April and the second one was recently.
Yeah, it was a few weeks ago. But there was something about like Pokemon source code had got leaked earlier, and there's thinking this all came from that same batch and same break-in. It's been hard to be like, when did this happen? Because I think the person got this a while ago and has been sitting on it.
That's right. It feels like it was a long time ago, and I think there were some leaks earlier, even before the Pokemon thing, that are being traced back to this, that they've had it for quite a while. There was I can't remember the name of it now. It's a Pokemon fan site who was like, we're done, we're wrapping up shop because we can't. Like all the stuff that's gotten leaked here is some of the stuff that we would put onto our website, and we're not going to do that. This stuff has been stolen, and we're just walking away from this entire proposition. And I kind of, it's not a leak, right? They broke into their servers and stole the shit.
This is hacking. They hacked in. Hacking is not typically this glamorous thing. This is what hacking it is. They poked around at an old server, old hardware, found an exploit, were able to get in, and then copy data. And who knows if that data is worth anything? Doesn't really matter. It's just wanting to get the data.
And they got a bunch of emails and chat logs and things like that. The thing that stands out to me before we get into the details here is that it seems like Nintendo really does preserve their shit in some way.
In a weird way, this is crazy. Clearly they have some internal process for storing this stuff off, even from back in the early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah. Like they've been keeping, they kept assets that they never used in game for Super Mario 60 or Mario 64. Yeah. I don't know if they plan on using that stuff later, or someone had mentioned, like a product like Hyrule Historia, like old art and stuff kind of gets reprocessed into something like that. So maybe that's what you would see later in like a book celebrating the anniversary of Mario 64 or something like, hey, we were thinking about doing Luigi and this is what it would have looked like.
Maybe not. To me, this just, I'm like, making games is really messy, and this is all the byproducts of making a game. Like, a lot of half-baked ideas that get thrown out long before the game ships, or are used as just milestones along the path of actually making a shipped game. Like, most games have a bunch of cut content that never sees the light of day. Not because, and it just was never done. It was like, oh, we don't have time to finish that. The design vision changes slightly, so we're going to do this. And so, like the Mario 64, where there's a Luigi model. It's like, yeah, they probably at one point had the ambition of having both of the characters in there, and then they were like, we can't put both characters in there. We don't have the time. We have a console to launch, and we need this game out.
Right. And it's more than just a palette
so it just
swap,
gets cut. Yeah, so it just gets cut. And
Which
remains,
hurts my
what
heart,
remains.
by the way.
I'm sure.
It hurts my heart. Oh, my Luigi.
Because there was what was the other one where there was a Luigi? There was a sprite. Was that Super Mario World?
I don't think I saw the other Mario's or the Luigi sprite.
There was a sprite from an
Oh
SNES
yeah, potential
game.
sprite for Luigi in Super Mario World. That's right.
Yeah,
Flipping the player the bird.
Yeah.
But in that same leak about the Super Mario World, there was a prototype. Maybe you saw it of like a original Yoshi.
Yeah.
Just like the skinny Velociraptor.
Yeah, and there's actually, I saw someone had put together a video because they, in that leak, had a bunch of different versions. And basically the progression of Yoshi from that early prototype dinosaur-looking thing to the shipped Yoshi.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty fascinating. Like, but yeah, I mean, that's making game. All this stuff, when I look at it, and I'm like, yeah, this is making games super, super fucking messy. Like, most art, honestly, is. Like, no one has... You have a starting point, you kind of know where you're going and where you want to end, and the path to get there is not a straight line.
I wonder how you feel as a dev if your early prototyping and iteration and whatever that you kind of left on the cutting room floor was exposed to the public in a way that you would never have meant it to be. Like, how would that make you feel?
I don't care. I'm sure this is going to be different for all devs. For me personally, I don't care. I think I would care if it was some of these like chat logs that had some horrible crap in them. But if it was just like game assets of early prototypes and stuff, sure. Talk about it. I mean, clearly at some point that was something I was interested in, wanted to do or make, but it didn't work out. So it doesn't upset me for people to see behind the curtain on how this stuff is made. It never has. But I also see why a big company like Nintendo would not want it out there. Because they care about their image so much and what they're presenting to the public.
Right. Well, it definitely doesn't add anything to their story, right? These are you don't, especially in a time where it's just like a Nintendo news desert. You don't want to be telling fans, these are things that you didn't get that we were thinking about. Because I feel like game fans, as opposed to other media fans, like if there's been a rumor of something talked about, they want to see it and have it. Whereas in art, like you iterate on things and create things, and for every song that I've written in my life, I've trashed 20 of them. Yep.
As I would say, in my typical making games, 90% of the game ideas I've had and prototypes are crap and never see the light of day. That's fine. Right. Like, it's the top 10% make it into something worthwhile. And even of that 10%, maybe half of it sees the light of day. Maybe.
And I mean, that's how art's supposed to be, where you write. For me, as a writer, I write 90%, 100% of the stuff that I write, 90% of it no one ever sees, because that's the stepping stones to get to that final 10%. That's the good stuff,
Yep.
Or hopefully the good stuff.
And I think that's just what you're seeing here and from all this. Right. And it's unfortunate some of the stuff got cut, but clearly it was a decision made not out of like, oh, we can't do this, mostly being like, this isn't either A, fit within our time and resources, or B, it's just not good, so we're not going to put it out there. We as developers are not confident in it. Let's not do it. Right. So, which is okay. It happens. It is fascinating though. Like, this is like just a crazy, portal into Nintendo prototype land. Like the Mario Kart 64 that used the 2D sprites on a 3D map, which it clearly is a proto. I mean, they're like, we want to do a 3D Mario Kart. Well, a quick way to get that up and running is we got the maps working, but man, we don't have time to make all the like models for all the 3D karts and everything. Well, let's just use the 2D sprites going around a 3D map. Why not? Gets the point across. Right.
If you're trying to show that to someone and pitch the idea, like quick and dirty,
Yeah.
it seems to have stuck for me because Nintendo's so fucking secretive that any peek behind the curtain just gets people so jizzed up and jazzed up and juiced up, all those verbs.
I mean, they kind of like the last one that I saw was they legitimately put out was for Breath of the Wild. They showed those 2D prototypes that they had made,
right? Mm-hmm.
That looked like old Zelda, just with weird colored sprites and stuff to test system mechanics. Because they're like, if it works in this 2D world, we can make it work in the bigger 3D world. So,
but then when they put that out, people were like, "Give us that game too."
I'm sure.
It's like Nintendo doesn't win by doing that, you know. Like here's a cool peek behind the curtain. Well, give it to us. And they could ignore that, of course, but I feel like I don't know if that's a winning proposition for Nintendo.
Maybe. I mean, that was a GDC talk. They were talking to devs, and if people want to complain to them that they should put it out, fine. But I feel like the people putting that out are like, it's not a game. We're not putting it out. It was a sandbox. It was a test bed thing to experiment. And it was valuable for us to share with the development community, which it has been. I will say that that GDC talk, if you can find it on Breath of the Wild, is fantastic.
I think I'm going to have to go back and look at that.
It has some great just value for anybody doing game design and making games, just some very innovative solutions to problems when you start designing big open world games. So yeah, I found it fascinating. And yeah, this is the thing. There's so many Nintendo fans and gamers play Nintendo games that no matter what Nintendo does, they're going to get crap. So they just have to ignore most of it at that point.
I feel like they are. They're following their own game plan.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is just, it's interesting, but none of it is anything too surprising to me, at least, except for some of the source code that had the word fuck buried into it.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Oh my God.
It's like when you're building a house, right? You just draw stuff in the fucking rafters and cover it up.
I guess so. I mean, I had, what was the one? It was in Bookworm Adventures 2. I had a variable that was like companion shit was the variable. It's just like it was like do companion shit.
That's funny.
But it's C++. It gets compiled away. No one's gonna see what that thing's actually named, so it's fine. But that's literally what the function and variables were supposed to do. Was the companion did things, and I was just like, do companion shit. And then if you see comments that are random swearing in different places, I don't know what was the one. I have no fucking clue why this works, but it does.
I mean, why not? I guess the nefarious part of this whole leak thing is that it's conjectured, at least, that the how like the NNID was hacked into and people were getting their money taken away and whatever else back in April or whatever.
Yeah.
It's rumored that information came out of this leak, basically. The first half of it, at least. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good from a moral and ethical thing. Like,
no,
I would say the leaks of the prototypes or whatnot are fairly benign overall.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's some stuff from Nintendo past of things that will never saw the light of day, that were half prototype, maybe full prototype. Doesn't really matter. They were, as you said, stepping stones for what we got. That stuff, I'm like, that's benign, whatever. It's not your place to release it, but it, in the end, isn't really hurting anybody. But it's the personal data pieces that are like, oh god,
yep,
like this is bad. There's nothing to be gained about that from releasing that stuff, just beyond harming people.
Right.
So that's where it bugs me.
And that's the thing, is it feels like a lot of this ended up being harmful, and some of it is benign or just like interesting, but there's enough of it that like this wasn't really a curated leak, and I wish it would have been more, because none of that stuff really benefits anyone other than people who want to steal money and Nintendo IDs and whatever else. But I thought, it's interesting to bring up, and kind of unless there's anything else you want to say about it, kind of segue into more Nintendo stuff.
No.
I think the reason why this is taking up a lot of oxygen is because it seems like a historic drought for Nintendo news. I don't believe we've gotten a full Nintendo Direct this year at all. And maybe I'm misremembering. We've gotten like mini directs. And then like
this year has felt like 10 years, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now too. We got like the Origami King dive into that game. I'm just struggling to remember. We usually get like that January Direct, and I don't think we had one of those this year.
Let's see. I'm looking at what the directs were. January 9th, we got a Pokemon Direct.
Right. So a game, like a specific game one, right?
Then we got a one on the Smash Brothers Ultimate DLC in January 16th. Got the Fire Emblem Heroes. Heroes is the mobile thing.
Yeah.
So that doesn't matter. We got a New Horizons Direct on the February 20th. And then that's the last one.
Besides the mini direct, we just had
mini directs and a couple indie ones that have happened.
Yep. So we've had no actual Nintendo Direct, which is like a whole bunch of games, a whole bunch of news. We've either had single focused game directs, DLC, whatever. So this is blowing up partially because it's interesting, but also everyone's in a news vacuum and just like wants things to talk about right now because we're all stuck at home. But also Nintendo what's coming out from Nintendo for the rest of the year? We know nothing. After Origami King, it's a blank slate. And I guess I want to ask you, do you think that, I mean, obviously COVID's an issue, but do you think they're going to have an announcement? Do you think they're going to have big games the rest of the year, or is everything thrown out of whack for them?
I think there's probably has to be some big game this fall, but that's just me being optimistic, or the fact that like there's a good chance that they all got thrown out the window. Like things are just taking longer. They don't want to release in this environment. They're waiting to see how things are going to be.
That's interesting because they're selling more. Games are selling more than anything. I feel like you want to get games to market in this environment.
And maybe they do. Maybe they just want to come in with a big splash. Maybe they're waiting for Microsoft and Sony to get all their crap out of their system.
That's a good point.
So they can just swing in and be like, all right, you got these super expensive consoles that are coming out with some really fancy games. Here's what we know you already have a Switch. Here's what we have this fall. Enjoy.
That's a good point. Like wait till Nintendo or Sony and Microsoft are, smashing each other off the stage, which by the way, I would bet a lot of money that we're going to get an announcement tomorrow from Sony that there's going to be a Sony presentation this week. That's just my prognostication.
It's gotta happen though. Like, again, we're coming up on time. They need to do a big announcement on release date and price.
Yep. I think we're going to
probably some games in there as well, being like, here's all your launch games.
For sure. I think we'll get an announcement tomorrow of an announcement, like this Thursday or whatever. Tune in for a
pre-announcement announcement.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure it's going to happen tomorrow. Which we're recording Sunday, so this will happen Monday as you listen to this.
Yeah,
I'll be shocked if there's nothing tomorrow. But you're right. Get them off the stage, and then they pop up and say, "Okay, we can't compete against that big news." So here we are when they're done talking.
Here's games.
I think there's a ton of legitimacy to the rumors about Mario 64. And the fucking one I never played from the GameCube with the water thing.
Sunshine.
Thank you. I host a video game podcast, folks. Like, what the fuck's that game called? I think there's a lot of validity to those things coming out this year, just because this is the 35th anniversary of Mario, which also next year is the 35th anniversary of Zelda. So we'll see what happens then, I guess.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh my God, that'd be so good. Give it to me.
Seems about right.
I would also really appreciate remasters coming to Switch of a bunch of Zelda games, just because I have a daughter who's obsessed. Yeah. And I would just like to have access to that in one place, as opposed to like, here's my 3DS, here's my Wii U, here's my Switch.
I think you at least have, through Nintendo Switch Online, you have the original Zelda. You have Link to the Past.
I do. Here's the problem, and this is a stupid problem. But when I pulled up those things with my daughter, she's like, why is he so tiny?
Oh, God damn it. For fuck's sake.
Started with 3D,
Oh, I know. I did the same thing. My son saw Breath of the Wild more than anything, and has a really hard time with Link to the Past.
Right.
One actually just finds Link to the Past hard, is the thing.
Well, yeah.
Which I guess it is, in a way. It's definitely harder than, I would say, a modern game.
I feel like there are a lot of places in that game where like there is one solution. You have to use the lantern here or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like light the candle so the wall will get destroyed or whatever, and so you can continue. But
I don't know. I think you're right. I think Mario is a good bet that some of those rumors have been true. I want to believe there's probably at least one or two other things.
God, I hope so.
That are just more of surprising. I don't know.
It's just, I feel like it's going to be something like Pikmin, which whatever, there are Pikmin fans and Pikmin's a great game, but that's not exactly what I'm looking for.
It's true. Or maybe not. I mean, maybe it's just the Mario stuff, and then they'll have more Smash Brothers DLC coming out in that time. They'll have more Pokemon DLC. They'll have more Animal Crossing stuff. Like, they kind of have a good suite of long-term games going for them right now. So
that's true. In terms of revenue, they're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, where they can just be like, yeah, here's the Halloween update for Animal Crossing. And just watch everyone eat that up. Which is an aside note. Have you seen that Gary Whitta is doing an Animal Crossing talk show?
Oh, yeah. Animal talking?
Yeah. Did you see that Brie Larson was on it?
Uh-huh. Matthew Mercer, Brie Larson.
Yeah. It was
Shaggy.
Yeah.
Sting was on
it. Sting. Just ridiculous people that you're like, wait, you play Animal Crossing? What?
I know. It's very surprising.
Like Animal Crossing enough that you're going to be on a talk show in Animal Crossing?
Right. And the cynical part of me says like, oh, or you have a publicist who knows this is a big thing and has got you in there somehow. But
I know at least Brie Larson is not. She has live streamed herself playing Animal Crossing.
That's awesome.
Like she's actually a pretty obsessive gamer. She's talked about it in interviews and stuff. Like she legitimately has played games for a long time, and it shows.
That's great. Well, she wants to play Samus Aran.
She's like, yeah, why not? Someone suggested that on Twitter, and she's like, do it.
Call me, Nintendo.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you could do it. Sounds great. Let's go. How about we just get anything Metroid? That'd be great.
Like, just put the fucking Prime trilogy on Switch. We know you have it.
Actually,
like,
that's true. That could be something that comes out this fall.
That could be this year. I think they're,
that actually is very likely.
I know they want to time that with like, close to Prime 4, but like let it breathe. Give people time to go through those 3 games.
Yeah. I still have Prime 4 pre-ordered.
You do?
I pre-ordered it whenever it first opened up on Amazon for pre-orders. I'm trying to see when I put that in. I pre-ordered it June 21st, 2017.
Oh my Jesus Christ.
I've had this pre-order for 3 years. And it says release date Saturday, December 31st, 2022. So that's what Amazon is like. We don't know. Sometime by end of year 2022.
God, I feel like Amazon's really nailed it. That's probably it.
It's just hilarious. God. I'm just like, holy crap. Oh, and I pre-ordered at the time when you got the Prime discount on new games.
Oh yeah, so you're getting it for 52, 50?
50, yeah.
No, 48.
52.
Yeah, right.
After tax and everything. It's still funny. I'm like, right. God, this is like the oldest pre-order I have, and I'm like, I'm never canceling it.
You got to keep it. Oh, man.
The next one, the oldest one I have is Cyberpunk. June 9th, 2019.
Nice. I wonder, mine's probably around the same time. I got it for like $50.
Yeah, well, this is the big giant collector's thing, so.
Oh, yeah, yours is more than that.
Yeah, it's like 270.
But yeah, for Nintendo for the rest of the year, I just can't see anything other than like those like remasters, remakes. I can't think of any like new quote unquote like iteration besides something like Pikmin.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this might be a year. Just try to reinforce the things that they have. Entice people with nostalgia that people want.
Right. Especially if you're bringing in lapsed gamers during COVID times. Like give them things that they remember from before would be a really great strategy. Yeah.
And it weirdly doesn't directly compete with the other big companies. Just like it is Nintendo just doing its Nintendo thing.
I mean, yeah, they're off on in their own field now. Yeah. Like they're I think they're in a sweet spot where this secondary console for whether you have a PC or an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Yep. Oh, definitely. So yeah, no, I think I only can imagine that we get a direct here probably by the end of the month was my thought. Yeah, I think an actual full good. Direct. Like maybe they have to figure out what the hell a direct is at the moment.
Right.
Who knows? I don't know what goes into making one of those things. So
they're not a company who's really worked from home traditionally ever. No. So this is all new for them. So there's obviously adjustments with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think you're right. By the end of I think that's totally right. After Sony and PlayStation kind of shoot their wads this month, then Nintendo just slips in and says, you already have our system. You don't have to buy hardware. Just here's the software.
Yep.
So, yeah. So what are you playing this week?
Well, we bounced around a bit earlier in the week. We played some Sea of Thieves. At least tried it.
That was fun.
It is fun in a weird way.
You really have to make the fun.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. I'm like, okay, it gives you very loose goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like the fun is the absurdity that comes from of being like, we overshot the island. And it's just like, wait, we're at the wrong place. How did we? Okay.
But we didn't know it until after we had completed the quest on the island. Then we all realized, wait, that wasn't the quest we were supposed to be doing. We thought we went to the island. Nope,
Yeah.
we definitely overshot it. Well, because what happened, it was just hilarious. In the middle of that, there's like this huge storm, and you had left the wheel to do something. So I took over, and I saw like a waypoint on the horizon, and I thought that was the one you were headed towards. So I kept us on that bearing, but that was not where you were heading us.
Well, the thing is, when you're captaining the ship, you don't have a good way of knowing exactly where you're going.
Yeah, the sail is right in front of your face.
And you don't have like a map that you can just pull up and look at right there.
Yeah, I had to take a picture of my map and send it to your phone so you could see what I was looking at.
I mean, we talked about it. None of it was bad. It was just hilarious. It's a game meant to create that sense of just random happenstance with your party, of being like everyone doing random things, and like when you crash into things, having to bail water and repair the hull. And I don't know. It's an absurd game. Totally absurd. I see why some people will get really into it.
Yeah, like with the right crew, and just you're just BSing, right? It's almost like a D&D campaign. Like you're just kind of creating it on the spot. Like, why don't we go there and see what happens when we go there, and some crazy shit will happen. I think the game generated stuff like skeletons appearing on the island or whatever are less interesting than just the interactions between you and the environment, or you and each other.
Yeah.
So
so it was a fun. I just wanted to explore that at least a little bit, because I've seen that it's got a bunch of updates since it came out, and it's free with Game Pass. So why not try it? Because I have it. So did that. Been doing some research. I played back into, again with Game Pass. So on PC, I have No Man's Sky on PC through it, and I was like, let's see what they've added to this game, and tried it. And again, I come to the conclusion, I don't particularly like that game.
Yeah. No Man's Sky?
I want to like it.
God, I feel like there's a lot of hours into that.
I have, but I come to the conclusion I don't particularly like playing it.
Yeah.
I get more frustrated than I get enjoyment out of it. Mostly due to the inventory system I really don't like. It mostly feels like I'm always full, can't ever pick things up. Totally. Or I just have to destroy crap so I can pick up the thing, and then I want that other thing that I destroyed, and it's just like it's always super time consuming. If I'm gonna I'll go back and store the thing, but then I have to come back out to get the other thing that I want. There's a lot of just juggling that I don't like, that just very time consuming resource juggling.
Totally. Yep.
What's the other piece? Very inconsistent controls. So running around is fine, but whenever you're talking about so they have these buttons on the keyboard, Z and X. Z is your build menu. So I want to put down portable refineries, solar panels. I want to start building a base. And the way that you interact with hitting Z, and these menus come up at the bottom of the screen, you use A and D to cycle through, and your left mouse click to left and right mouse click to go deeper into the menu or pull back a level, is different than whenever you hit X, which brings up a quick charging thing. So you can be like, I want to go in here and I want to recharge my mining laser, or recharge. They don't actually use the same keys and presses.
Oh, that's annoying.
So cycling through with X, Z is an A and E. It's always Q and E to go back and forth on both of them. But when you're in your charging menu, you can't use left and right mouse button to confirm things. You have to use F to confirm. I think right mouse button still pulls you back a level. But it's just this one key inconsistency that just messes me up constantly. So it's just it's a lot of little things like that just add up to me being I'm really frustrated playing this game.
Do you think it's because they developed it for console, PlayStation specifically first, and then
potentially?
Obviously they developed it on a PC, but or at least I think they did. But maybe the control scheme on the PC was the second thought,
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just slight inconsistencies like that got a little weird. I feel pretty overwhelmed with missions, honestly.
Oh yeah, totally.
They just bombard you with this tons of stuff, and it really actually as a person who tends to be very completionist in that way, it gets under my skin because I can't complete it all. And
that's why you couldn't.
I don't know what I should be doing though, because so much of it is on the same level of presented on the same level of importance. So I'm okay, does it matter which one I do first or not? Or there's just parts of me where just psychologically playing the game, I'm like, I'm frustrated.
Right.
I don't want to play this anymore. And I didn't put a ton of time. I put like 5 hours into it, just over a few days, just to kind of I wanted to play it again, do some research, because Astroneer is a very similar type of game, but I don't find Astroneer frustrating. So
I wonder if the whole quest thing is like a reaction to, remember when it first came out and people were like, what's this? There's no story. It's just exploration. I don't know if they like overcorrected. For me, when I open that game, and it's still to this day, it like makes me cry. Like the atmosphere, the music, the tone was just like at a point where in like the very early time with my daughter when she was just born. And like that was one of the first games that I was playing while I was holding her while she slept at night. And it just like pulls me back to that moment like instantly. And it's just like hard for me to play because of that feeling. And also like I crave that feeling just to like reminisce about that time. So it's very tied to like early days of my daughter. That and like oddly enough, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah.
All right. What else are you playing this?
Like you, I put in some time with Diablo 3 on the Switch. Just picked that up, and I think I have a level 56 Necromancer with a couple hours of playtime. It's really fast to level in adventure mode. Not a whole lot more to say about Diablo 3. I was just like, oh, I'm sitting in a car with a Switch. I'll play Diablo. Okay.
That was my weekend. I was like, all right, I'm in the car with the Switch. Why don't I just pop in Diablo and finish getting the crown, Laric's crown, so I can then do adventure mode with the EXP build.
Boost. Yep.
And I've got like EXP on like almost all my things that I'm wearing, so it's just really fast leveling. But I'm playing a character from a previous season, so I'm not playing a current season, which I don't really care. Although I probably should put time into the current season to get some new stuff. But I'm just it runs well. It's a blast. That game is just a blast. Just the loot grind is really fun. It's really satisfying.
It's a very satisfying game.
Yeah, I have a barbarian. I'm level 25, I think.
Yeah, barbarians are ridiculous.
I've never played one in Diablo 3.
The pure power fantasy.
Yeah, totally.
Everything just blows up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. And then since yesterday, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes,
picked it up and started it.
There.
Yep.
What was your text? Late to the party, but I'm here.
I'm here and I'm going. And I think I'll echo some of the stuff. It starts out a bit slow. I'm like 6 hours in now, but it's already picked up quite a bit. I'm just having a lot of fun. After the initial story elements, who was it? We were with Yuna, the thief. Gets you out, do that, and then you're like, okay, you have unlocks the open world at that point, and you're like, okay, where do I want to go? And I could just start wandering, but I focused really specifically. I saw that there was a mission with Yuna and a mission with Ishikawa, Archer.
The Archer, yeah.
And the Thief. And I saw both of them that showed the rewards, and it said reward archery, reward assassination.
Right.
So I did both of those immediately before doing much of any exploration, which is good. I think it helps having the ability to shoot a bow. And it really helps a lot for being able to assassinate people.
Right.
And now I did those, and then I did the first part of Lady Masako's Tale.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done the first part of that, and now I'm exploring south. I'm just kind of going towards big, either Mythic Tales or Tales of Tsushima, just side missions, just kind of pushing towards different ones on the map, and then just getting lost along the way, finding torii gates and shrines and hot springs, dying in random encounters. That happens.
Totally. I'm having that very same experience, like that you've explained mine to a T.
Yeah, it is a really good open world game now that I'm at it. It's so smooth just to wander around in that world and find things and follow the wind and just see where it takes you.
There's so little UI in that game.
I know, and I'm getting used to it. At first, it was like, I want more, but now I'm like, I think I can do this. I feel much more comfortable with it not being there, and just, in some ways, letting go of the specificity of a UI and just being like, explore the world, just live in the world, be part of it, go. And my God, is it gorgeous. Holy
it is unbelievable.
Shit. And this isn't just like realistic graphics or anything. And like, I would say that mostly it's the art direction that looks amazing. The color choices, the way the forest looks, and the way the lights hit fog, and the sunsets and sunrises, like
the god rays.
It looks really good. Like, it's art directed so well. The foliage on the ground, like, holy shit! There's that whatever they're doing to render that much grass or leaves is incredible. Because it just makes the world feel so alive as you're running through it. Holy crap! So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually not. I put the camera on fast. I'm not having problems with the camera. I
am not anymore, and I know I said this early on where I would tap it and then it would take a while to spin, and I've either gotten used to it or it's the update changed it. I don't know. I'll have to go back and like actually pay attention to that, but I have not noticed that issue anymore as well.
I'm noticing, maybe it's because I've been told, like, hey, the camera, and I saw it as well, like the camera is not really fast moving to move it around. Right. But I don't move it around that much in combat. I actually stay pretty only. Yeah, I don't do a lot of camera movement once I'm in combat, and I'm okay with that because I can see well enough. I feel like I do a ton of camera movement because I roll and then twist to see where people are at. How are you about their deliberate choice to not have a lock on? Fine. Yeah, because there's kind of is a lock on. You just can't see it. At least I'm noticing it. On the putting my stick in a direction. Oh, yeah. I can tell which enemy I'm targeting. But not because of a UI. Not by a UI, but there's definitely something where I'm like, I know if I'm pushing northwest a little bit, I'm going to attack that enemy over there. I'm not false attacking things, which has been interesting on not. So I haven't felt like I needed the lock on at all. That must have taken, I guess for me, forever. Just a lock on kind of. The lock-on for me just locks the camera. And and I can kind of just move my left stick and not really move the right stick too much. Yeah, but like I said, I'm not really using the right stick that much in combat. Sometimes after I've eliminated an opponent, I'll move it back behind me or to one different direction to get a better vantage point, but that's it. Like, I usually don't. I don't move it. I guess I keep block up a lot of times. Yeah. I'm holding block and getting blocks and then getting pretty deliberate in my parries. How many people have you recruited so far of the 4 people you're supposed to recruit? So I recruited Misako. I recruited Ishikawa. Is Yuna a recruit? I thought it was. I didn't think Ishikawa was. I thought it was Yuna and Lady Misako. I've done them. I did one with Ishikawa, but I don't know. Maybe that wasn't. You don't recruit them. Yeah, I thought you did though. Maybe it's. And then there's the Ronin. There's the Ronin. I haven't done the straw hat Ronin, and then the blacksmith. I haven't. I'm going south to get those now. Okay, but I'm taking my time. Going south. Okay. I just wanted to check how far you were because you had mentioned yesterday you'd be further than me today, and I just wanted to see how much behind me you are. Just for now, because have you got those 4? Week, oh yeah, I've got those 4. 4. Okay. But other than that, I've done nothing of the main story. I've just been exploring, just unshrouding the map and just taking down bases to get stances and such. Yeah, I did there was like a dojo in the center, more of the center of the map. I took that down. Yeah, I just did that one last night too. Yeah, it was just as I was going south. I was like, oh, there's a big thing over there. Okay, let's go mess with that. And then I moved toward another lighthouse last night. I've gotten 2 of the lighthouses so far. I haven't been to a lighthouse. What? Oh, okay. Well, okay, lighthouses. There are lighthouses, yes. It feels very, I know people always want the Assassin's Creed in Japan, but it feels very old school Assassin's Creed done well. Like, it's just back to, like, I don't know. I know they're not supposed to focus on assassinations because they're supposed to have the honor of the samurai or whatever, but there's a really good assassination focus in this game that feels really satisfying. Like, to kind of cull the herd a little bit as you're kind of spinning in towards a base or whatever, and then just go fucking ape shit once you've been spotted or whatever. I have put all my points into standoff technique. Oh yeah, so I can chain through standoff. I can do 3, kill 3 people from a standoff, and it's incredibly badass. It is really cool. I only have 2 right now. I put my points in those things. Ghost weapons specifically, because those things are fucking OP as shit. Yeah. Oh man, I love the kunai specifically, like taking down bears with 1 kunai. It's great. Oh, nice. Because those things would wreck my face early in the game. I only came across a bear once, and it was when I was fighting another group of Mongols, and the bear went to shit on, like, just tore into them and not me. Nice, perfect. I was like, some of that thumbs up gameplay. Yeah.
There's something interesting about the game in that there's a place called Komatsu, I think, Komatsu Forge, and I got there early, and there was literally nothing there. But once I've recruited the 4 people, it wants me to go there to forge a weapon to go over to the castle to climb the castle walls, basically. And it's made it like a base, so I'm assuming when I get there it'll be like crowded with Mongols. So
I
if
had
they've taken over, go ahead.
Something similar happen.
Mm-hmm.
The base where for Ishikawa's first mission.
Oh yeah, me too. Yep.
I explored that and I was like, oh, I can't get in here. That's weird.
Exactly, me too.
And then I did that and I was like, oh, never mind. Now I can get in here. So.
And that's one thing that kind of breaks the immersion for me is like I'm there and it's not like a lived in place. There's no one there, but then I come back with the guy 5 minutes later and it's just like bustling. Like,
yeah.
I know that they don't want you to like take down the base before the story mission, of course, but they had to solve for X in some way there.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, it's probably more of a time issue than anything. Being like, the way we'd want to do this, we don't have time or budget for. So, this is what we do instead, as a compromise, so that we can do something.
And you can kind of suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
But that's, I had it with you in the same place that you're talking about, and then also this forge area. But man, it's like I keep describing it in our group text as a soothing game because I'm, obviously we're all stuck at home or whatever. To just be out in the wilderness, like it's just so it gives me such Breath of the Wild vibes. Just the exploration. Like there's some steam, there's some smoke. Let's go see what happens. There's a bird. Okay, I'll follow that bird. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's in totally that. And I got up to my first Torigate shrine. Like climbing a crazy mountain hillside thing, and you get up there and you go to the shrine. But then I looked off to my right and I was like, oh, there's a hot spring right down there. Let me pull up my map and just put a marker roughly in that area so that when I get down, I'll head over that direction and get to that hot spring. But from up that vantage point, I could see hot springs. I could see smoke columns in the distance. It was just like, okay. It definitely has that feeling of like, I like getting up really high because I can see all sorts of cool things.
Just give me a hang glider.
Yeah, you don't get that. I assume you get a rope at some point.
I mean, that might be the weapon you forge in I don't know, to climb the castle
because
wall.
There's a couple places that I've seen, and honestly, I've seen some GIFs on Twitter of people doing crazy things with like grapple hook swinging.
Interesting.
But there's definitely like paths up and down cliff sides that you can't jump up to get to, but there's like protruded tree stumps. And it makes it look like if I had a grappling hook or something, I could quickly climb this cliff face. Or jump down it very fast using a grappling hook. So I assume I get that at some point. Maybe that's what you forge is the grappling hook there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll both find out for next week.
We'll know by then. We'll both be through that point of the story, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's really good though. Like really good.
Super good. Exactly I made the choice between Last of Us 2 and this one, and this is exactly like for my soul what I needed. And I'm streaming every second of the game. Like I stream it to YouTube, and that's how I know exactly how many hours I put into this game so far. And it's kind of cool to have like a record of how I've played this game specifically, since it feels like such a moment for me. And like the last PS4 exclusive,
I guess it is.
Yeah. Unless there's something I don't know,
No, I think this is this probably
first party,
Yeah, I think this is the last true exclusive for the PS4. Probably get some cross-gen stuff.
I'm sure we'll get Miles Morales on the PS4. I can't see them not doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good way to go out, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's great.
I want to see it. I want to play through the end. A couple people I know have beat it beyond Brad and Travis. People I work with have played it, and everyone has this thing that they get to the beginning of Act 3 and they are amped up about the game.
Oh shit.
I'm like, what the fuck happens at the end of Act 2 to Act 3? Because they're like, I'm gonna burn it all down. Fuck all everybody. I am gonna kill everyone as Jin. I'm like, what is happening?
Oh, dude, I can't wait for that.
It's not a spoiler. Great. I'm just like, but
yeah.
Everyone has had a very visceral, emotional reaction at that point. Right. I'm like, okay, what does this story have in store for me? Because right now, the main storyline, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's going along. The side stories are really good. I really like the side stories a lot.
Yeah, me too. The characterization is really good.
Yeah.
And I like that some of them are 15 minutes, half an hour, just like little episodes.
Oh yeah, and there's actually a lot of them are split up. Is the thing. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this part. I'm going to go and do this mission. Like Lady Masako's one, where it's like the first part of it. Yeah, it was like 15 minutes.
Right.
But it's multiple parts. But you don't have to do every part at the same time. Like you can do like that part, and then you can go do your other stuff, and then come back and do more.
It's so well paced. It really is, because it's self paced. It's almost like the Zelda games where you can kind of choose where you go, whatever order you want, kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's super good, super fucking good. I don't know. Still, I'm only 14 hours in, but it's going to end up being one of my favorite games of the year for sure. But maybe one of my favorite PS4 exclusives.
I think it's probably Sucker Punch's best game.
I've only played a couple of theirs, and by fucking far, it's their best game in my view. Yeah. But I hated in Second Son, so.
Yeah, Second Son was not great. First Light was fine.
First Light was good. I liked First Light.
But and their older stuff was fine. But I feel like this one is just them really perfecting their systems. And maybe if they just it clearly got a lot of time to work on this game.
Yeah.
And I know it's sold really well in Japan too. And it's been treated very well in Japan. Like from a Western developer deciding to take on Japanese history.
I know that
to be so welcomed there and they so well received. Like Famitsu gave it a 40 out of 40. So that's pretty impressive. And it sold really well in Japan. I think it sold 2.4 million worldwide so far.
Yeah, it was fast selling new IP, obviously, for Sony. But obviously, there's more PS4s in the wild.
Yeah.
But the director of Yakuza, who was like, "What the? This is an amazing game. Why the fuck didn't someone in Japan make this game?" Like, not saying like they should have, but like, this is so good. How come we haven't tackled this subject matter?
Yeah.
God, I cannot. I think about it, when I'm not playing it, and that hasn't really happened for me in a while. So.
I did Kurosawa mode for a little bit, and
did you?
And it's amazing for what it is. I just want to see the color though. Like, the game is too pretty to play it purely in black and white the entire way. Even though that black and white mode is... that's the thing about it. It's not just black and white. When they call it Kurosawa mode, it's like sepia and black and sepia a little bit. It has the film grain going on, but the audio has changed as well.
Right.
The audio sounds like old movies. Really old movies. And it's incredible. And I did that. I did it for 15 minutes with Japanese voice. And I was like, yeah, this is a fucking Kurosawa film.
I've been playing Japanese voice the entire time. It is so immersive. It's really cool. But I don't recommend it for people who can't read fast.
Yeah. I've switched back and forth, the audio back and forth, just kind of I think I'm going to stick with English at the moment. But it's good either way. I was so impressed by all that stuff and those pieces of production.
Right.
So yeah. I agree. We're going to finish here, and I'll probably play some more. So
yeah, that's that kind of game, man.
Yeah.
For me, other than those games we talked about, I have put some time into Animal Crossing, a couple hours. And that's just what it's billed as, just a chill-ass game. Yep. But this new update where you can swim in the ocean whenever you want if you have a wetsuit.
Yep.
Is interesting because I'm still on the starter or whatever. I still have a tent and I'm, I've only put 4 or 5, whatever. So I don't have the pole that I can jump over the river and get to the rest of the island or whatever, but I can swim. So I just, I just swam to the other part of the island. I was like, I feel like I'm not supposed to be over here, but I am. There's nothing interesting so far.
No, it's just a bigger island. Once you can get across, it's not until much later in the game when you can start building bridges and expanding, the ease of access there, because you'd want to start putting plots for houses down and stuff in other places so villagers could move in and the whole thing. But other than that, it's still another part of the island. So the island's the island.
Yeah. So playing that a little bit, Diablo we talked about. And then the other thing that I played this week is Paper Mario: The Origami King. I played Color Splash on the Wii U, just didn't really get into it. Never played any of the other ones. I know that people love Thousand Year Door and lament the fact that these games don't have RPG mechanics anymore. But this is the game that I picked up with my daughter after we finished Yoshi's Crafted World, but really looking for a story-based game to get her into, the narrative. And it is so good. The complaints that you've heard about it are legit. The battle, I like the battle system. My daughter likes the battle system. She likes to help me solve the puzzle to get them lined up, and we play act that later. She really is into the story about the paper versus the origami characters, and just helping me solve the puzzle and tell me where to go. But other than like it's a really great game for me and my daughter. It's an E for everyone. So there's just, Mario jumping on people or hitting people with a hammer. That's about it. But take that piece away, like the writing is so fucking good. It is so funny. It is so like the body humor and the slapstick humor and the timing humor. Like there's just like asides that the characters make to each other when speeches are happening that are just like so fourth wall breaking and meta. And like the art direction, the visual style is beautiful. The puzzles are super interesting. It's fucking great. And absolutely, people are right that the RPG mechanics were like, you just basically want to avoid the fights eventually. I'm sure that's the case. This game throws coins at you like no one's fucking business. Yeah. The mechanic where you throw confetti to fill in holes to solve some like level-based puzzles is interesting, but kind of interesting, I guess I should say. But man, it's like I'm playing with my daughter, but I want to just play it by myself so I can just go because I have to stop and
Yep.
She wants me to skip some things and just get to the main story, and I just want to fucking explore. So when I was out the other day, not my normal Saturday getaway, in my car in the parking lot somewhere, I played it for like an hour just to kind of soak up some of the exploration that I couldn't do when I was with her, and got a few items that took a while to go progress to the next part of the story that she would have been kind of impatient about. And it was just such a fucking joy, man. That game is. I hope people give it a chance because it is really so far super good. I'm only 2-3 hours into it, so who knows how it's going to change. But from what I've read, it just gets better in all the areas that I like, and the areas that I find meh, they stay meh, and whatever, they don't get worse, I guess. So super recommend that game to anyone who's looking for just a fucking Nintendo ass game. It's funny as shit, man. It's so fucking funny.
That just brings up the thing of how much Nintendo Treehouse has paid off for Nintendo.
Good God, you're right. Totally. The localization.
Just being like the localization, because Animal Crossing's the same way, of being like, there's just some laugh out loud little moments in Animal Crossing, just little quips that they say, and you're like, this is incredible localization. And beyond just like, hey, we're going to directly translate what they're saying. We're actually going to do the effort to get intent across to like a Western audience.
Right.
With timing and the whole thing. Like,
yep, totally.
Oh God, it just pays off so well. I guess that's the thing where Nintendo was like, fuck, we've been really bad at this for a long time. We're just going to make this division. I think in the mid-90s sometime. It was around the late 16-bit era, start of the N64 era when they formed Treehouse. Because I know Bill Trinan was part of it at one point.
Right.
A lot of people came up through Treehouse in the West.
Dude, the people there right now are fucking killing it. Like this game is maybe like the I don't know, like if I can say pinnacle, like it is a game that I did not think I was going to get. And then just sitting here, like kind of pulling through the games that I have that I think would be good for my daughter. Like nothing was really hitting. Cause like she really is interested in those story rich games. Like I pulled up a couple, like Minecraft creative mode. I thought she would love because we build stuff all the time. And she was like, can we just build like in real life? Like, sure. Okay. There wasn't the story, but this thing has the stories. We've already built paper characters and have made confetti to throw into holes. We made holes in the house to fill with confetti, like fucking going, Wind Waker route right now. Although Baby Link is still king.
Yep.
I just got a Toon Zelda amiibo that my daughter is obsessed with now. So yeah, playing that. And then the other thing that my daughter is also interested in that I did not get for her at all, but finally found Ring Fit Adventure at cost. And man, it's good. It is really good. In that it's making me do exercises that I don't do. Like I ride my bike and I run and jog, and that's all I do. That's my exercise. But it's making me do like crunches and these overhead squeezes and like with the ring, just a bunch of different strength and yoga stuff that I would normally not do. And you're jogging through a level, or if there's stairs, you're high stepping, or if you're in water, you're doing a different kind of traversal maneuver. That's really exhausting and really tiring. And then at the same time, you're squeezing the ring to like collect things along the way. You pull the ring out, like you pull on the ring to like vacuum coins up or different items, or you like squeeze the ring to blow air out of your item. And then you run into monsters along the way and you have to fight them by doing exercises. So, and it's set up in at World 1, do a couple levels, then you fight the boss, then you fight them by doing exercise. And we're on World 2 now. And when we're done, my daughter wants to play act like she does with all the other games. So we get Ridley. Ridley is the character in the game is a purple dragon that you're fighting.
Okay.
So we get Ridley as the purple dragon, and then we just, all three of us, my wife and my daughter and I, just do exercise. We like do squats and crunches and shit to defeat the fucking monster. And I was like, this is great. It's great. I'm super excited to be, and I've done it 3 days in a row so far, and I've done a total of, I think, like an hour and a half of exercise, and I feel it, man. And doing exercise that I wouldn't normally do, and it's better than nothing. So, and it's actually a lot better than nothing. So stoked about that. And that is what I've been playing this week.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about it. I'll see. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get it anytime soon, unless it just pops back up when another shipment comes in. But I'm curious about, as time goes on, if it holds up. I've known one other person that got it when it first came out, and then has consistently done it since it came out. And they've like legitimately like tracked their project, their progress weight wise and everything while using this as like exercise. And it's worked for them quite a bit. Like they've gotten noticeably healthier. I
hope that's the same for me. I've noticed in just 3 days that I feel less winded. Like I've since my bike broke, I've done less exercise. It broke about a month ago, and I just haven't fixed it yet. So it's definitely getting me back into it. And it's just, the incentive of like the story mode. Like I want to do the campaign. My wife wants to do it, but not do the campaign. It's like, cool, there's different modes. There's also a rhythm mode. There's a bunch of different stuff. And I'm sure you could cheat your way through it, like like you could with like Wii boxing or bowling or whatever. But like if you don't have to, you can do it. And it really does. The Joy-Con really do work really well for it. So I'm glad to have got it. Travis got it a couple days ago from Target after I was talking about it. So we'll see what he thinks.
It's something. But I definitely wouldn't mind something to get some exercise, since I'm not going to the gym anytime soon.
Right.
So
that was my whole thing. Like some of my other exercise routines are out the window right now. So
yeah.
So there you go. Again, we have Prof and Dev Play Games, the YouTube channel. There is no vanity URL yet because we need 100 subscribers. We don't have that yet. So if you're interested, please check out our videos there. Just search Prof and Dev Play Games on YouTube. Some Game Pass game videos, my Tsushima playthrough, and this video series about gaming with my daughter, which is a lot of fun to produce. I'm very quickly learning all about Adobe Premiere Pro, and it's a really, really great program. Super great program. So learning a lot of stuff that I'll be able to apply to my job, actually. So please check it out, subscribe, listen to the videos, watch the videos, whatever you want to do. Anything else from you, Anthony, before we sign off?
No, I'm pretty good. I want to get back to Tsushima.
Yes, let's get you back to Tsushima. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Episode 253. We will see you next week when we're talking about the Sony State of Play. Fingers crossed.
Oh, and the Nintendo Direct, right?
I'm less confident about that.
Yeah.
That's by September for sure. By our birthdays, we'll have that.
There we go.
All right, folks. See you next week.
Later.